You can be a snow angel this winter by volunteering to shovel snow for those who can't. It's a great project for families, church groups, neighborhoods, and service organizations. It's easy to sign up online at lincoln.ne.gov, keyword snow, or call 402-441-7644. Many people in Lincoln need the help, so get that warm feeling this winter by becoming a snow angel today.
Yeah, let's get started. It's a little bit of a different kind of press conference today. Certainly typical in the sense of being about something very relevant and something very imminent, in this case, the weather. But a little bit different in that we're talking about processes today. We're not talking about building new buildings or personnel or that sort of thing. It's a process basically related to snow operations. But we wanted to go through it with you because it's a new process, and it's one of the things we try to do in government to make things better, to not only work with buildings and projects and paperwork kinds of IT things, but also with physical processes that change materials that we use day to day in government, especially in this case in winter operations. So we're introducing a new strategy to fight ice and snow. While we can't beat Mother Nature, we're constantly looking, of course, for additional tools and technologies to create in winter times better and safer driving conditions sooner after a storm. Today, I want to introduce you to a new process the city will likely be trying this weekend. And then staff here will report to you on general snow preparations. One of our strategies is to pre-treat streets before a storm actually strikes. The idea is to spread materials that helps slow the formation of ice and makes it easier to clear snow once the ice and snow have in fact hit the streets. In the past, we have sprayed liquid salt brine prior to storms as a deterrent to ice formation. The liquid brine also helps to keep salt on the road for traction. Importantly, however, we only had the ability to use a single type of brine solution, no matter what the weather conditions. And the number of sprayers that we had in addition were limited, which limited our effectiveness in these situations. So these were the problems that we were dealing with. At City Hall, I encourage staff to constantly seek out processes and procedures that can lead to service improvements. We should strive, in my opinion, always for improvement and to learn from our previous efforts. We should not settle for good enough, but rather strive for even better. After the cleanup from Tuesday's storm, I met with Public Works staff to review the operation. It became clear from the conversation that our plans for a new pre-treatment method and additional equipment could potentially improve the icy road conditions significantly. That's why this Saturday we will be trying this new method if the predicted participation occurs. We believe the new plan will be far more effective. Our new tools and plans are available due to several factors. In July of this year, the city's new snow operations manager, Ty Barger, who you will meet in a minute, came on board and began to investigate ways to improve the tools and the operations relating to snow operations. He analyzed the effectiveness of different materials and solutions to combat ice and snow on the roads. He investigated best practices across the country. By late August, Ty made several recommendations to the mayor's office to improve our snow operations. that he hoped to implement for the upcoming snow season. First, he suggested that we use a different method for pre-treating the streets using an unlikely new additive, of all things, beet juice. The properties of beet juice allow it to adhere to surfaces much better than the regular old brine mix we had used previously. This should allow the salt in the brine, to stay on roads more effectively to provide the traction and ice melt that improves street conditions more quickly. Ty also recommended that we greatly expand our use of the new mixture. Not only is it a new mixture, but we're expanding the use. In the past, we primarily used the salt brine, the old salt brine, on bridges and at city intersections. He wanted us to use the new mixture on major arterial streets across the city. Arterial streets, as you know, is a word that we use for the main connectors within the city, going both east and west and north and south. He also advised that we use the new beet brine to pre-wet rock salt as it leaves the spreaders, ensuring spot-on application. So it's not just the material, but it's the way it's applied and it's where it's applied. So we got 3 new things going on. Finally, Ty's work allows Public Works to fine-tune the brine mixture to work more effectively in different temperatures and conditions. So we have some good new equipment. That meant that an overhaul of our operations was approved then in September. After the procurement period then, a vendor was selected to install a new machine that would have the capacity to make enough of what we now call beet brine, to make enough to cover all of the interior streets after a storm. After the award was made to the vendor scheduled the installation for the soonest that it could be accomplished, which is today, November 14th. Starting today, our new equipment will be pumping out up to 5,000 gallons per hour of our new beet brine. We are hopeful that the new plan will help us reduce the impact of ice events, just like the one we experienced on last Tuesday morning. Let me give you just a cautionary note. While we are confident in the new process, I need the public to understand that we have never used this new process before and are attempting, indeed, something new in several ways to improve our snow operations. The anticipated participation on Saturday will allow us to test the new system. It will be a good time to try the test as we are not facing morning and evening rush commutes on Sunday. Also, we want to give you and ask you to convey to the public our annual warnings. People need to be realistic about what can be accomplished by snow operations. As I said before, we can't beat Mother Nature. While the city can improve driving conditions, commuters have to be pragmatic about the effectiveness of even a perfect snow response. We live in Nebraska, where, as we know, the weather can change in a heartbeat, and there will be times that we cannot anticipate those changes, and even when we do, there may not be enough time for a total response. That's why it's imperative that drivers do their part by driving safely during and after a winter storm. Always wear a seatbelt and make sure passengers, and including children especially, of course, are securely fastened. Slow down and allow plenty of space between you and other vehicles. Beware of icy spots, especially on bridges, curbs, and intersections. And keep a safe distance from a snowplow, a truck, a grader, or any other maintenance vehicle when it's plowing or spreading material or otherwise displaying a flashing light. If you pass, do so carefully and safely. So with that minor lecture, I'll turn it over to Roger Feigart with the Public Works Department to tell you a lot more about the snow operations.
Thank you, Mayor, and good morning. The city has more than 2,600 miles of road to maintain and clear ice and snow off. That is no small challenge, nor is it a small responsibility that we take lightly. We need to be in a constant state of readiness, and we need to make sure that we have the right amount of material on hand. We're here to tell you today that we believe we are prepared and we have the material on hand. We have over 7,000 tons of rock salt, 170 tons of calcium chloride, and 18,000 gallons of beet juice. All of our snow and ice fighting equipment has been serviced. We're ready to go. Our crews have already been through refresher training, and they're ready to go for the snow season. Our street maintenance staff, as well as many of us, are regularly monitoring the weather, trying to anticipate what is coming and what might happen. We need to be constantly in a situation of being able to adapt and change, because just as the mayor said, we don't beat Mother Nature, but we react to that, and I think the plans and the resources we have in place are prepared to do that. For city crews to efficiently and effectively do their job, we really do need community cooperation, and we really appreciate that. We discourage and ask residents to please not park on the street during a snow event if they don't have to. Plan ahead for alternative off-street parking if that's possible. We know that's very difficult, particularly in a lot of our older parts of town and the higher dense areas. Parking is very limited and makes it tough. And in those cases, we'll do our best to work around you and try not to plow you in, but we do ask for your help. City of Lincoln, excuse me, and Public Works is committed to improving winter maintenance operations while continuing to ensure the public safety. We are implementing a new winter operations plan that will clearly describe more of the city's snow fighting and ice deterrent program, and Ty will get into more of those details. One of the things that we think probably is most important is to share what are those priorities. The community maybe isn't always aware of what are those priorities to try to provide that service. Our first priority is to keep our emergency snow routes as free and clear of snow and ice as possible during the storm, and then to clear them after the storm. Of those over 2,600 miles, there's 570 lane miles that are part of the official emergency snow route. Not all of our arterials are on the emergency snow route, and in some years past, that creates, I think, a frustration and at times some irritant for citizens that maybe drive down a street that is an arterial but maybe not an emergency snow route, and they are thinking we should be there and we haven't been there yet. We encourage people to look on our website as to which routes are the emergency snow routes. After we've gone ahead and cleared off the rest of our arterials, which is another 400 miles, then we would go to our bus routes. Over 150 miles of bus routes that we want to cover. And another significant important change over the last couple of years is adding another 55 miles of school routes so folks can get their kids to school. Making sure that these routes are a first priority and ensure that emergency services can be accessed, and most Lincolnites could get to an arterial, get to a bus, or get their kids to work, or get their kids to school, or get themselves to work. Typically, we would not remove snow from the residential streets, which are over 1,400 miles of those lane miles, unless we receive 4 inches or more of snow. Or if we're having a particular a snow event with high winds and drifting that create a reason for us to go in to those areas. One of the things the mayor mentioned a little bit about a new program that we want people to have a sense of confidence and be assured in is the use of beet juice. It'll come out a little bit brown, but I want you to know Ty and his staff have tested in-house. They've put it on some pretty nice clothes. It washes right out in your washing machine, and a car can be cleaned up by going through the car wash or washing it off with water. So at that point, turn it back to the mayor and Ty for more details.
Okay, I'm going to ask Ty to come up here. You will recall he's the one that's been working on some of these new ideas, and we're very proud to have him and have appreciated the way he's dug into things. So, Ty?
Thank you very much. Good morning. We have brine in production as I speak. We're going to make about 37,000 gallons for this particular event this weekend. We'll be done producing that brine probably around midnight tonight, and we're going to start delivering that brine as of 4 o'clock this afternoon. The tankers that are going to deliver this brine are similar to the one directly to my left in this orange truck. There'll be 8 of those trucks driving around town from 4 this afternoon until 4 tomorrow morning. At that time, we're going to transition from a anti-ice brine operation into a material spreading operation. So from 4 to 6, we're going to start preparing our material spreaders similar to the other trucks behind me. Those will be loaded with rock salt, and that rock salt will be prepared to be spread throughout the city, and we will pre-wet that granular material with our brine as well. Starting around noon tomorrow, we're going to have plow crews available to deploy throughout the city should conditions warrant it. And we will stay on task no matter how long it takes us to clear the streets. I want to remind everybody that no matter how well the weather cooperates with us, it's imperative that everybody drive very responsibly and slow it down when there's an ice or snow event. And it is everybody's responsibility, every owner, every tenant's responsibility to clear their sidewalks by 9 a.m. the morning following a snow event. And for those citizens who have a hard time getting out there and clearing their own sidewalks, we have a program in place to help them called Snow Angels, a program created by my predecessor, Scott Epfer. And these individuals can get some assistance from Snow Angels by dialing 441-7644. And for folks who are interested in participating in the Snow Angel program, we've got dozens of people who participate in this program. It's a great program. We don't have enough people volunteering, so if you're interested in participating, you can dial the same number and get plugged into this program, 441-7644.
Thank you, Ty. We have, I'm delighted to tell you, we have with us today Pam Dingman, who is our county engineer. Pam, I'm hoping you will say a few things about county operations. She has responsibility for a great many things related to our roads outside the city of Lincoln, and we're delighted to have you here today.
Thank you, Mayor Bartler. I think, first of all, Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. I think it's important that we note that my operation is much different than the city's, although we have the same goals. I have approximately 1,050 miles of gravel road to clear in a major storm event and 275 miles of rural county roads that are paved to clear in a major snow event. And so, although we do not have a brine machine and will not be putting down brine, we will be putting down materials as needed. We do start to plow when the snow reaches 2 inches. This week, I'd also like to note that in order to create a partnership between Lancaster County and the city of Lincoln, we did hold a meeting with emergency management so that we could lay out the future and what snow events might affect all of us in Lancaster County. I'd also like to remind the rural members of our communities, such as medical staff that need to drive in, that it's probably a good idea if we have more than 3 inches of snow forecast that you go ahead and stay in town. In addition to that, in years past, it has been an issue for people who get their heat from propane, that in a major snow event and you're running low on propane, we would like to suggest to the citizens of Lancaster County that you keep an additional month's supply of propane on hand during these winter months so that you don't run out of propane in a major event. However, if there is an emergency, please know that we are prepared to do our best to assist you, but that it may take time. And with that, I'd like to turn this back over to Mayor Beitler.
Thank you. Yeah. Good to have you. You know, with regard to our children, the first thing we always think about, of course, is keeping them safe. But we also like to challenge their creativity in small ways from time to time, in ways that also serves to acquaint them with city operations and what happens in city government. So here today to tell you about our new snowplow art project is Clay Engelman, who's a district supervisor and in charge of this particular operation.
Thank you. Good morning. Over the past 3 years, we have had the opportunity to work with Lincoln Public Schools and some of the private schools in the Lincoln area to provide our students the opportunity to express and demonstrate their artistic talents by decorating some plows. This has also given us the opportunity to raise awareness of our winter storm operations and a fun interactive program for the children. First, I would like to thank Mayor Beitler and Public Works Director Esposito for supporting and encouraging us to continue to be more involved with the community through these types of programs. Without their support, we wouldn't be able to make any of this happen. I would also like to thank Lorenda Rice, the curriculum specialist of visual arts for Lincoln Public Schools, and the Lincoln Public Schools as a whole for their support and enthusiasm that they have shown in the Artistic Plow program. I would also like to take this time to thank Perry Leaf of Sherwin-Williams for providing the paint this year, and most of all, to the teachers and students that painted the plows. Without their enthusiasm and hard work, we wouldn't have these amazing mobile art displays, which are behind me. These functioning mobile art murals are assigned to the participating school's snow route, which gives the students an opportunity to see their plow performing winter maintenance activities. This year, we had 11 schools participating. The elementary schools were Zeeman, Lakeview, Randolph, Prescott, Norwood Park, Hill, Huntington, and Cooser. There was also Sco and Kohler middle schools, and then the Arts and Humanities Focus Group, which is the plow off to my left, was the one high school group that did a collective project this year. We currently have a total of 25 plows from this year and previous years combined that have held up to the use that are currently being used. So watch for them this winter, and hopefully if you have helped paint a plow, whether it be this year or in previous years, you will see yours clearing the streets. One last note, remember to drive safe and be careful this winter, and help us work to continue to keep the streets safe and clear this winter. With that, I'll give it back to the mayor. Thank you.
Okay, that's it. Thank you for your patience. Questions?
Mayor, what's the cost of the new brine projects and everything?
Pardon me?
The cost of the new,
The cost.
deep brine project, the machinery necessary, whatever.
The budget for the materials and putting things in place was $275,000.
What's the total cost for the snow operations for the city?
Okay, good question. Budget, we started this new fiscal year with just under $200,000 left over from last year. The budget itself for this new year for 14-15 was just under 3.7 million, 3.687, or if somebody wants an exact number, you can catch me afterwards. That money come from two primary sources. 2.1 million of that coming from the general fund, 1.6 million coming from street construction, for that total of about 3.7. So with the carryover and the new budget, we'd start the year with a budget of about $3.9 million.
And that's targeted for snow removal, that kind of stuff?
Yes. That's the snow removal operating budget for the year for materials, equipment, manpower, salaries, all of those things.
That includes the beaches.
Yes.
Roger, in the past, you've given kind of just a general figure for one full day of snow operation, what it costs. I think in the past, it was like $125,000, something like that. Remember?
It's $250,000 per event, for residential, but expanding it off to small arterials.
I apologize. At my advanced age, I begin to forget those numbers, but we can put together some sheets with some averages that show, you know, on a daily basis or per event, where we're trying to kind of do either material spreading or a full plowing operation, to have some of those generalities available for you. So, okay.
Is the beet juice concept something new, or has it been used other places too?
Well, it's been used other places, but we just have not used it here. And with Ty coming in and investigating that, brought that opportunity to us, and we're excited about that. Do you want to come up, Ty?
Yeah, do you know what the success has been like in other places?
What was that?
Do you know what the success has been like in other states with the same?
Yes. We have canvassed other communities, and we've got success stories from every one of them that have used this beet juice. Beet juice is not the only product that people incorporate into their brine. Anything that can increase the viscosity of the brine, allow it to stick to the road a little bit better, and increase the residual effects of the salt. Some folks use corn byproduct, potato byproduct, cheese, lots of different things. Beet juice is something that's readily available and cheap to us, and we have a local supplier, so it works out well for us.
All right, that beet juice change was hard for me. That was the only thing I wouldn't eat as a kid. So it was hard to swallow, but I think it's good. It's going to work. Thank you very much for being out here.
Clearing snow and ice to keep our streets safe is a tough job, and the city needs your help to keep our road crews safe. Use off-street parking if possible, avoid unnecessary travel, and visit lincoln.ne.gov for the latest information on snow operations before you head out. Drive slowly, give plows and material spreaders plenty of room to do their jobs, and avoid distractions like your phone. By working together, we can keep everyone safe this winter.